Well, I keep running into the same problem. I'm sorry about the way that broke at the end. For some reason, when I do these on campus, they only take up to about 5 or 6 minutes and then they freeze. And I've not been able to get past that particular hurdle. It works at the house, but here it's not working, so we'll just do a couple of shorter ones and that'll be fine. I just had a couple other things I wanted to say. What happens if I have more than one author? How do I handle that? The key is that you go into your table of contents, look at the directions and follow the directions. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing, but if you follow the directions that are in the book, you'll be just fine. If you are worried about how to cite a source, if you have made the attempt and are not sure you're doing it correctly, you can certainly copy and paste that and send it in an email. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And then just let me take a look at it and I can write a comment and send it back. I've also updated and changed the way the calendar is going to work at the end of the semester. You may have noticed if you've gone on to how the grade is broken down for the semester, I've had to alter it considerably as a result of the changes. We're not going to do a seated final exam, of course, that's not going to be possible. So the final paper will work as the final project or final exam. The quizzes then, 2 of the quizzes will be weighted a little bit more heavily, and some of the other papers will be weighted slightly differently, but I spread it out over everything, so it really shouldn't have any impact. The weights are relatively evenly spread, so that it shouldn't affect the grade or make much of a difference in terms of your grade, but there's not really any other way to do that. There's going to be another graded assignment where you'll have to submit a draft of your paper. That's coming up soon, and I will let you know about that deadline. You'll have time to submit that. I will give you some feedback and send it back to you. That will be for a grade, essentially a completion grade if you do it. And then there'll be a 4th quiz, which will also be on citation and documentation. So those are the things that we have left between now and the end of the first week and a half of May. We have a few weeks left to get all of this taken care of, and we should be just fine. If you've got questions about things, feel free to run them past me and ask me. But I'm really keeping the expectation level low in terms of the complexity of the citations and documentations. What I really want you to be able to do is write an argumentative research paper. That's key, that you can be able to write argumentatively, that you develop a point that has multiple viewpoints to it, and you're presenting why you think X should be done or why Y should be done with your 3 reasons. But more importantly, that you know how to look for scholarly sources or good sources. And that means going to NC Live. That means using a database that helps you find that information, not just Googling it. If you end up with weak evidence, then that's going to have an impact on your grade, certainly. So don't send me all of your possible citations so that I can check all of them for you. Just those that you have questions about. If it comes from a university, from a scholarly journal, from NC Live, it's going to be fine. You don't have to run those past me, but if it's something else, then ask, and I'll be happy to help you know, let you know whether they're acceptable or not. The other thing is that you can use your Works Cited page in order to cite your sources in your paper, and those are going to be really generic. Just expecting you to use a minimum of the 3 quotes, because you have to have a minimum of 3 sources, and then use those citations in your paper correctly so that I can find it on your Works Cited page. We've got time to get through all of that and for you to ask questions. I'll get back to your questions as quickly as I can by email, so be patient, hang in there, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks.